Coming up, a day in the life of an elementary school teacher.
Teaching consumes every ounce of my existence. Every ounce.
The Medford School District in the city of Medford, Oregon, includes 21 schools spread throughout the city, teaching to nearly 12,000 students kindergarten through high school. The district employs nearly 600 teachers. 63% are elementary school teachers. At Oak Grove Elementary School in West Medford, one of these teachers, Jessica Rohrbaugh, is well into her day, teaching her first grade class.
All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I heard so much math talk, so much math thinking. Kiss your brain. That was fantastic. I can't wait to hear what you're thinking about this. Rylan, tell me what you're thinking.
I think even when I was little, I always played teacher, like all kids do. They play teacher a lot. I had really great teachers growing up, and I think mostly though was my love of learning. I just loved to learn, and I like being a part of having other students learn. So through high school and college, just really opened up my eyes to how much there is to know and how much there is to learn and grow. And I know that as a teacher, you never stop learning. So that was a great avenue to always stay part of school, part of the education world, but also be a part of wanting other kids to grow up and have a love of learning that they never stop learning. It was hard at first, but I love doing first grade. Yeah, there's a lot to love about first grade, how everything is so new for them. Everything they learn, it's all fresh and brand new. It's the year they learn how to read, so clouds start disappearing from their eyes later in the year, and they're like, oh, I can read that poster on the wall finally. It's like, yes, you can. And so there's just so much growth, I think, that you actually are able to see right away in first grade. I think the upper grades, the growth takes a little bit longer for you to notice, or it's carried with them longer through life than first grade. You see right away.
As the provider of an encouraging environment for young students, a teacher must use an array of bright and engaging but thought-provoking techniques to hold their students' attention. Communication combined with interactive instructional lessons proves to be an integral part of a student's attitude towards learning.
What to do with them? I want you to take a second, think about it in your brain. What do you think about these shapes? What do you notice? How do you tell you're blue or green? I know that.
There's very little stand and deliver. There's very little just do worksheets, and it's 100% high energy, lots of movement, constantly on the floor. You have to wear comfortable clothes. You have to be moving around all the time. They need somebody who's on their level and interacting with them and making it more real life for a first grader, as opposed to just the standing and deliver. They love the big words, learning those big things. This is the 5th grade word. This is 6th grade word. Then all of a sudden they're in. I want to know, and I know all these big words. I can go home and tell my mom and dad.
Did you just change your mind? Yes. What just happened in your brain? What just happened in their brain? Are you wanting to come on over to this side now? Yes. Okay, before you come over, you got to tell me why.
So it's a lot more engaging for them. There's been times I've done stuff where I'm up at the whiteboard or I'm just standing up there delivering. They start to fall apart, and so it's a lot more work for the teacher. It's a lot more. You have to really just get a lot of sleep every night and wake up every morning ready to go, and to say, okay, I'm going to hit the ground running, and I'm going to keep up with them all day long. In fact, I'm going to lead the way.
S-H, good catch. Remember our chart? We make a chart like that, didn't we? Let's read this page.
Teaching consumes every ounce of my existence. Every ounce, whether I'm in the classroom or not. So it's from the second I wake up in the morning, I'm thinking about what am I doing first during the day? Okay, what am I doing when they're at recess? I need to get this ready. When they're at lunch, I've got to do this. And oh, this kid was really struggling with this yesterday. I really need to pull him, and what can I do to fix that? It's just a constant. I get up early. I'm up by like 5:30 in the morning. I'm in the shower. I'm eating my breakfast. I'm having my tea in the morning. I'm preparing myself for the day. That's basically the only thoughts that go through my mind. and then the drive to work. And then when you come in, the second you walk through the doors, it's just, you hit the ground running. The office needs you, don't forget about this meeting, you got to fill out this paperwork, this parent dropped by, you have a voicemail, check your box, these forms have to go home today, I got to photocopy this, the photocopier is jammed, you got to do this, you got to do that. And you get in here and parents will want to talk to you, you got to get the desks ready, get the desk work going. And so it's just 100% consumes your brain 100%. There's no room to talk about anything else. So there's no room to, oh gosh, I got to pick up my dry cleaning, or, I got to run by the DMV. Those things get put on the back burner sometimes to the point where I back them up too much. And then from the time I get off work, I'm at home, I'm looking up things online, I'm researching curriculums, I'm researching new programs that are coming out. Do I think this would be good for kids? This kid's really struggling with this. I'm going to research some things that it's just constant. It's constant. My family has to tell me to stop. You have to stop. Like, you've got to tune in. You have to have relationships with us. You've got to participate. We're doing a family dinner. We're doing this. You have to be there. And it's like, okay, if I do something personal outside of work in the evenings, I have to prepare myself for that all day. I have to try and tone it down in the classroom, make sure I'm really ready so that I have enough energy to participate in life after school so that I can, be who I am outside my identity, outside of a teacher. It was very hard to step out of. You have to really do I want my day tomorrow? What do I want my day tomorrow to be like? Okay, I'm going to eat a salad, I'm going to go to the gym, then my day will be better, I'm going to go to bed early. But yeah, it's everything I do is to be on top of it in here. You have to transition a lot. They're used to video games and YouTube and all kinds of things where it's like instant gratification, instant rewards, those kinds of things. So, we're moving a lot. Every 20 minutes, we're transitioning something new, something different, something bright, something keeping them engaged.
4, 3, 2, and 1. There's a big word. It's called a triangular prism. Say that with me. Triangular prism. One more time. Triangular prism. Whisper it for me. Triangular prism. Excellent job.
I think it's also important for kids to learn how to sit and be within themselves and focus on themselves and their own thinking. And so we work a lot on metacognition in here and identifying what that means, thinking about our thinking, to really process what's going through your mind. Because sometimes if they're bam, 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 lesson, I notice they don't retain it as much because they're just constantly thinking about the next piece of the puzzle. And so just being able to sit, a lot of private reasoning time, just sit with it for a second. Just sit with it, really think about what's going on in your brain, I think helps them learn a little bit more. Then you have to throw in the exciting things too. It's just a balance. And I'm constantly feeding off of what they're doing. Okay, I'm starting to lose them. This isn't working. They're goofing off in their desks. They're not playing around. That's not because they're trying to be disrespectful. It's because I haven't done something to engage them enough, and I need to get them back on track. Maybe I need to break into smaller groups. Maybe I need to. So it's just constantly being flexible, juggling plates in the air all day long. Okay, if this isn't working, I got to scrap it. What's plan B? We got to figure it out. Try hoping you're working your heart and soul out. Blood, sweat, and tears go into this job. You just hope that you're making a difference and that it's working and that something is clicking with kids and you're sending them off into the world with skills and knowledge that they need. But you get really emotionally attached when students don't understand. It's a deep pit in your stomach. How do I get them there? What am I doing wrong? How do I fix this? It's a very, very personal job. Every part is personal.
At Jefferson Elementary School, also in Medford, Lisa North has nearly finished her first week with her new class of third graders. With nearly 2 decades of teacher experience under her belt and coming from a family of teachers, Mrs. North knows exactly what keeps her passion going for teaching.
And for me, it's about the relationships. That's the first and foremost thing that I'll do, and that I will try and nurture through the whole year. Because if they don't know that I care about them, if they don't know that I really am looking out for their best interests, then they're not going to perform at their best for me. I think the thing that keeps me here all the time is seeing that light bulb go off. And it could be a little tiny thing or it could be a big thing, but just knowing that you are the one that has delivered something to a kid in a way that makes him go, oh, I just learned something. And seeing that happen is so energizing and so wonderful. And it makes all of those other things that, tend to bring us down in our professions kind of fade into the background, because you've connected with a kid and that's what you're here for.
2 decades worth of teaching has seen many changes in the educational system. The last 10 years alone has seen a very public change in statewide curriculum. In 2007, Oregon schools began the transition to a more focused standard structure in literacy and mathematics. Revision of the new structure led to the adoption of the Common Core state standards in 2010 and has been implemented to ready students for a new tradition of testing.
So the Common Core is a set of standards that have been drafted federally, so that now there's no longer the state teaches this way, the state teaches these goals, the state teaches these goals. They're trying to make it to where all the states are held accountable to the same goals and the same expectations, so that we're all on the same page, we're all on the same level. If kids are moving from state to state to state, they're getting the same key instruction points. So it's been implemented. We're in year 2 here. It started last year. Primary grades started. This year is the year that the upper grades started teaching it to get kids ready for the new tests that will come out, new standards, new tests. So next year will be the first year for the new tests that will come out for Common Core. So we've been getting a lot of training and a lot of professional development on what that would look like, what kids need to be able to do in order to get ready for those tests. From before Common Core to Common Core, definite drastic night and day changes. The expectations are astronomically greater than they were before for students of what they need to understand in first grade in order to move to second grade. So it's been a lot of work. It's been very challenging.
I think standards are standards. We've had standards for a long time. I don't think a standard itself is either rigorous or non-rigorous. It's an outcome that you want students to be able to show evidence of success. It's how you present that information. It's how you get, evidence of that learning from students then that becomes where the change is. So some of the things that, Common Core is asking for are, I don't know that the outcome is a higher level, but the grade level that we're asking it from may be lower than has ever had to perform that before. I think most of the secondary teachers that I talk to, when high school teachers look at the standards, it's like, yeah, that's pretty much what we want to happen. That's kind of where we've been teaching all along. But one of the problems with Common Core is that it started way up here with people in academia and industry. They said, this is the ultimate, this is what we want, and then they worked down. And so what's happened is things have gotten pushed, lower, lower, lower. And so now what we're asking kindergartners to do may be what first or second graders used to do. And because they're not necessarily ready for that, well, now we got to ask preschoolers to do something to get them ready for kindergarten, to make them ready for first grade. And it's just this domino effect.
Due to the implementation of new Common Core directives and the pressure of upcoming exams, teachers must organize and prioritize student needs now more than ever. As providers of educational resources, teachers are more than aware of the yearly budget. And while money for classroom material needs is provided, personnel support is a different story.
I think prioritizing student needs is critical of teachers. Not getting stuff just to have stuff. What do I need as a teacher to help these students move forward? I got to prioritize. What's step number 1? What's step number 2? I think finding programs that assist schools. There's so many programs out there now that are popping up to help teachers and to help fund resources for kids in the classroom. My class is actually sponsored this year by a local company that's raising money for us to get some more supplies and resources in here. I would say that I think I've been pretty fortunate in my 4 years of teaching to be at a school where I've had leadership, where those things are really heard, our voices are really heard on what I think is really important and what students need. I think mostly my concern for resources isn't the material things as much as it is personnel and curriculum, keeping up with curriculum needs, testing needs, teacher evaluation needs. You know, that all costs money that I'm not sure, I think could be spent better in other areas. Me personally, I would love to see more teachers. I would love to see more speech therapists, more special ed teachers, more specialists that can work with kids that I notice have special needs. You know, I can get workbooks and, you know, special pencils and all those things, but that doesn't replace a professional who has experience with kids with those high needs to work with them. I would love to see more of that in schools. I think that we would see so much change in kids and the way that we viewed schooling with more of those programs. There just isn't the money for it, but those big ones, the critical ones, are just slowly going away. And I had them when I was younger, and they don't exist anymore. And it's the teacher has to fill those roles now. You know, I'm scampering trying to figure out, what do first graders need to know about art? We're not just going to glue macaroni. What do they need to know about art? What do they need to know about music? What do I need to teach them about science? And so I'm wearing all these different hats, plus doing reading, writing, math, emotional needs, trying to students who have autism, students who are learning a different language. It's just, I think there's too much on the teacher's plate. It needs to be delved out more, and there isn't the financial resources for that.
While technology in the classroom has always been a present element in a teacher's yearly lesson plan, the interactive technology that is readily available presents new and exciting opportunities, while the potential of overusing technology could be the backward step in a child's learning development. While the teachers across the district have varying levels of experience with applications, its presence in the modern-day student's life is undeniable, and teachers have the decision to make on how they will use it to create the best and most interactive lessons.
I think that it absolutely has to be present in what we do, just as far as being able to enhance the information that we're giving. We should be using every possible source we have to teach what we have to teach. But I think it's important also to get kids connecting to other people, to other things, and there's so many vehicles to do that. And every time you go to a conference, there's somebody presenting some technology class, and there's this website and that website, and you can get lost in it. So I think it's important for teachers to find some vehicles that work and that they can learn solidly so that the kids can engage in it.
Technology, I think, is really important. I think that as kids get older, if we want them to be successful citizens in our community as adults, I think technology is a big piece of that. And I want them to feel, I don't want them to be intimidated by those. I want them to feel comfortable. I want them to be intrigued. I want them to be engaged by those pieces. So using like a document camera in the screen and computers, all of those things, they're typing now in first grade. That's crazy to watch them do that. I think is only going to help them as they grow. I think it's finding the balance of, am I using it appropriately? Am I using it just to make it fun, or am I using it because I think it's an appropriate teaching tool? So the document camera is critical because I can bring kids' work up and just show it right away. I don't have to run and make an overhead. It's immediate. Let's talk about this student's thinking. Let's have a discussion about this. Or we were learning about tornadoes last week, and they're like, okay, but I don't get it. Like, what does it look like? Wow, let me pull up this video real quick. We'll throw this 2-minute video. Let me show it to you. It's like, oh, so they really grasp the understanding. I think technology can be abused in a classroom. I think it can be used a lot for oh, I just don't know what to do. This class is going downwards. I'm just going to throw on a video, or I'm just going to throw on this. And I think that's when it becomes an issue. That's when it becomes a problem. But they're intrigued by the document camera. What do these buttons do? How does this work? What's a PowerPoint presentation? What does this button do on the keyboard? How do I type up in a Word document? Those are things that I I, I think are going to be critical to them.
I skip pages and I'm not doing my best reading? I don't want to read this page, it's too hard, I'm not even going to try.
Try to read it.
Good one, Carter. What? Say that again, Carter.
And we'll get smarter.
I'm not going to get smarter if I don't try hard at reading, right?
Everyone has an opinion about teachers. More often than not, the public view of teachers is not without misconceptions, from the number of hours worked to how teachers have the summers off.
Seriously, most of your summer is taken up with professional development courses that are required for you to keep renewing your license, to keep learning more, to keep being on top of your game, so that you can be the best teacher that you can be. The summers are really nice, but the amount of hours that I put in during the school year completely balance out through the summer. I mean, I don't even know how many hours I work in a week. I just know it's ridiculous and it's absurd and it's outrageous how many hours I put in a week. So to actually have the summer where I can go to the movies with my friends and to get back and remember, oh yeah, I really like eating ice cream, or I forgot about that. I really like going to the movies, and just getting back to who you are is critical to being a teacher. If we didn't have those summers off, there would just be no recovery. If I don't know who I am and I don't have my own passions, I can't share passion with my kids in the classroom. And I lose those during the school year because this takes over my whole life. But I think another one is, well, I'll just take the day off work. That one kills me. You see it in movies all the time. Like, you'll see a movie where somebody's a teacher and, they're just going to take off for the day, though. They're going to jump on an airplane. It's like, if I take a day off in here, I plan 3 days in advance. It takes me 4 hours to do sub plans. I've got to plan it out for a tea. I've got to get everything set up and ready to go like I would. I mean, it's exhausting. It's not worth it to take the days off to do that. So I think that's a big myth too.
Jessica is well on her way to gaining decades of experience in teaching. Reflecting back on the last 3 years, she is quick to note what she knows now about teaching that she did not know at the beginning.
I wish I would have known, A, how political it is. The politics behind the scene make the job sometimes unbearable in the classroom. I think that's the hardest part.
The Medford Education Association, a group comprised of all teachers, and the Medford School District had negotiated for several months on a new contract. On February 6, 2014, a strike was announced. It was the start of a 2.5-week strike that was an intense process for everyone involved.
A lot of times I've been asked the question, did you win? Did you win? And I don't think there's a win. Nobody wins in a strike. There may be some gains in some certain areas, but nobody wins. It's always a loss. So I think that we were able to gain a fair contract. We were able to have some promises upheld that had been promised previously and people were counting on, in some of the retirement things, or putting back the instructional days and compensation that was promised, and some of that is still being worked out. So when you look at it that way, I guess there were some gains. Our special ed teachers, got some help with their caseloads, and so those are pluses on the teacher side. The biggest gain, though, is the solidarity of the Medford teachers themselves. We have just a little over 600 teachers in Medford. We had all but about 20 of them that went on strike and stayed on strike the entire time. There were issues that were important enough that people were willing to stand out there in the rain and the record colds, and because it's what they believed in. And they were things, and they weren't the money and compensation pieces. They were the things like having preparation time to teach what we have to teach, or having some limits on how much you're being asked to do, as far as like secondary caseloads, or not caseloads, student loads. If you have a secondary teacher with 250 kids, it's hard to give a kid the attention and the time that they need. And when your prep time only allows you 30 seconds per kid to think about, you really can't do individual intervention and get all kids to where they need to be, because they don't all learn the same. And you're looking at each one. So people had things that they felt strong enough about to stand out there. And so there was a solidarity that was absolutely gained, and people pulled together like we never thought that they would. And if you were on the line with a lot of those teachers when their students came into school, there were tears.
Yeah.
Because it absolutely was heartbreaking, because everything that teachers do is for those students. And everything that we were out there was for the sake of the students. And I know that's hard for a lot of people, to understand. But if I don't have time to prepare a quality lesson, then your kids don't get taught in a quality way. If we don't have supplies that we need, the kids are shortchanged. If teachers are constantly bashed and belittled and put down, you don't have happy people teaching kids. And there's repercussions for every bit of that.
Despite the hardships, the teachers of Medford remain hopeful and proud of what they do.
I still, in the face of criticism, in the face of danger, in the face of, crazy things that we're asking kids to do, I still feel personally this is one of the most honorable things that I could do. I feel our profession is not honored in the United States like it is in other places, but I am honored to have been blessed with the gift to do this. Sorry.
I think watching them from the beginning of the year at the end of the year, and seeing how far that they've come, that's the most rewarding. How excited they are about learning when they come to school every day. I like that part. That being with them every day, they enjoy learning. I love that about first grade. They like coming to school. They like all the activities that we do. They're excited to learn and get their hands on books. And at the end of the year, when you send them off to second grade, it's night and day what you've seen from when they started with you, basically kindergartners at the beginning of the year, working on their alphabet letters and 3-letter words and counting, and now they're, doing mathematical properties and inferring with their reading and all kinds of complex vowel structures, and I just love that. It's very exciting to watch them grow and change.
When students come into, first, second, third grade, where I've spent most of my time, and they say, "You're the best teacher I've ever had," I tell them, "Well, you've only had 2 or 3. I say, "You tell me that when you're a senior and I'll feel honored." And I've had a lot of students who still come back after they graduate and still tell me that. Then I know that I made a long-lasting, strong impact in that kid's life. And when a parent will send me a card and tell me that something that happened in second grade made the difference in their kid's entire educational career, I say, wow. I'm humbled. I'm humbled by that.